I'm going to call us to order at 6 o'clock. We were kind of waiting to make sure the YouTube, Facebook was working. We're good? Okay, so we're live. Everyone's here. We have a quorum. So everybody take your hats off. We're going to let Doug pray for us.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're just so thankful for you and thankful for this day, Lord. We're just so thankful to be a part of this school district. I just ask that you be with everybody as what tomorrow brings. Lord, is Veterans Day, and I ask that you be with those that did not return. Father, I ask that you be with their friends and their family. And make this time a little easier for them, as easy as you can make it, Lord. I also ask that you be with us tonight as we try to make the best decisions possible for the school district. We ask for the safety and health of every staff and student. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Okay, we don't have any open forums, so we're going to recognize our guests. We thank you all for taking time out of your busy evening to come see us. We love it when we see your faces. I will let Ms. Searles go first because I think she has the majority of the visitors. Yes, I do.
I invited all of our students who participated in UIL this year. Instead of just recognizing the kids that placed, I felt like everybody deserved recognition because we don't have an activity period in our school, and so these kids put time in. They come in at 7. Some of them beat me at school in the mornings, and then they practice hours after school on their own time. And so I thought I would recognize all of them. We took about 30 kids to First Southern Baptist Church last week, and they did part of the UIL events, and then they go on Friday to finish the rest of the UIL events. So we had quite a good turnout. But what I'm going to do is when I call your name, if you just kind of want to come forward so they can see your faces, I'm going to tell your event and what and your name. And then some of them I've participated in more than one event, and so if I call your name and you're already standing, if you'll just wave so they can see that you did more than one event, okay? You don't have to say anything, you just kind of stand up and let everybody recognize you, okay? All right, so creative writing for 2nd grade, we have Anson Anderson, Taylor Mays, Trayana Rendell, Rayleigh Deaton. Storytelling for 2nd grade, we have Paisley Chaffin, Cooper Booth, Daisy Perry, and Cord Lozier. Storytelling for 3rd grade, we have Brody Reed, Caitlin Ollinger, Julian Stewart. Art Smart for 4th grade, Brooklyn Brassfield, Hadley Smith, Jersey Ewing. Chess, we have Tristan Newman in 5th grade. Art Smart for 5th grade, Samantha Schick, Bristol Raper, Bentley Nivens, Alexis Stein, Addison Mays, Taryn White, and Faith McInnes. Dictionary skills in 5th grade, we have Addison Mays, Samantha Schick, Bristol Raper, and Allison Turner. Listening in 5th grade, we had Alexis Stein. Chess, also Ryan Bass, Rosie Watson, and Addison Noble. Maps, graphs, and charts, Taylor Moon and Nadasa Weaver. Oh, wait. It's Spoon, not Moon. Not Moon. Number sense, Hadley Smith, Brooklyn Brassfield, Jersey Ewing, Gabriel Dobbs. Number sense for 5th grade, we have Chris Jones, Peyton Drake, Alex Seagal, and Zachary Taylor. Oral reading in 5th grade, we have Chris Jones, Ryan Bass, Brentley Hester, and Carson Graham. Ready writing in 3rd grade, we have Arlie Cruz, Candy Lee, Alexis Perkins, and Brody Reed. Ready writing in 5th grade, Addison Mays, Samantha Schick, Bentley Nivens, and Alexis Stein. Social studies in 5th grade, we have Tristan Lumen, Julian Parker, and Chris Jones. Spelling in 3rd grade, Alexis Perkins, Paisley Sharp, and Kelly Wright. Spelling in 4th grade, Brooklyn Brassfield, Jersey Ewing, Hadley Smith. And spelling in 5th grade, we had Addison Mays, Bentley Nivens, Alexis Stein, and Brittany Hester. So we have a lot of events. We have a lot of kids that participated in a lot of different things, and they worked really hard, and I wanted to give them all recognition for the hard work they put into our UIL program, and I know they're going to do great Friday whenever they compete.
Can we have them all come up here and take a picture?
Sure. So all
Y'all find a spot, turn around towards your parents, because they're the ones that are
Oh, sorry.
These girls, okay?
Wait for me. Sorry. Hold on, zooming in. Stacey, put your hands down. Thank you. Okay, got it.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate that. We know that UIL is extra, and you gotta really study and represent the school, and everything we've heard, y'all have done such a wonderful job. So y'all have a lot of fun on Friday at the college, the ones that are getting to go, and we appreciate it. Do we have any other UILs, or is that?
That's it.
That's it? Okay. If y'all want to stay for the meeting, you can. Mr. Lozier. Or you may leave. But thanks for coming. Hey, you beat Stephen up. That was good. Okay, who else brought guests? Okay, you brought guests? Okay.
Today I ended up wearing my custodial staff. We got Shane Thomas and Stephanie Moreau. These two guys, they do such an excellent job. And really, they're the backbone over at the school. Stephanie's there before I even get there. Shane's there at the time I leave. And here in a little bit, I think Shane's gonna have to go back and finish up his job. And without these two guys, the school wouldn't run near as efficient as it does. And I just appreciate them so much, being there and taking care of the school, trying to make it look the best as possible. So I just wanted to make sure they got here, got some recognition, got some thanks.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate y'all. And it does look super nice. Super nice, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Y'all are more than welcome to stay, or you can go. We're not going to make you stay and start meeting if you don't want
But
to.
Mr. Shane's got to get back to work, so.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll go back to it. Okay, Mr. Vanderpool, did you bring?
I brought
Okay.
a plethora of guests back here. Miss Lovejoy and her student council, I'll let them speak to some of the work that they've done. These kids they go above and beyond. This is outside their classroom instruction. They collect cans, they come up with ideas to make the campus better. Definitely some future leaders in this group, so I'll let y'all take it. And I don't know, Haley is on the agenda, correct?
No, but she can talk during this.
Okay.
You can give your spiel during this time.
Oh, during this, okay,
Yeah.
I'll do it after this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so to start with, this is student council. We've been doing a lot of fundraisers. We've already accomplished a lot more than any other year in just the few months we've been in school. We've done so many fundraisers. We have like a list. Each month we have 2 organizations in the school or whatever, and we do so many fundraisers like raffles. I'm sure y'all heard of what all we've done so far. And we have raised over $700 in, what was it, just 1 month? In the month of October, actually. So there's that.
And something else we did differently this year, we always do a canned food drive to collect canned goods, and we do it as like a trick-or-treat kind of thing. We go to houses and we trick-or-treat for cans. But one thing that we did differently this year was we actually all took our own cars instead of just taking the bus, and we got probably twice as many cans as we normally do because we were able to cover more ground and we had more people out actually going, and we did a lot more and got a lot more cans. So that was something that was really beneficial to us and to CCS so that they can stock their pantry for the community. So, yeah.
Do y'all have anything to add? I think it was a lot more fun going and separating. We definitely covered a lot more and got more for sure. So, Joy, do you have anything?
The veterans baskets that are being delivered.
Yes, we're delivering veteran goodie bags tonight. We've already done some, but after this we will finish delivering them. We have 36 of them that we're giving out to veterans. So,
Gosh, that's fantastic.
Okay, so I'm proposing to y'all here. So as everyone knows, because of COVID the past 2 years, we haven't been able to do a lot of fundraisers, and so school has been pretty dry. So COVID-19 restricted the flow of money in the school, and like I just said, COVID has ruined that for us. But student council has managed to do a lot, like I just said, over $700. So what we're doing is mainly just to get more money back into the schools, so like booster clubs, sports, student council itself, BPA, whatever, so they can have more money. So here's my proposal, and the idea sprang from the teacher parking lot drama. I don't know if y'all heard about that, but we heard it from Lindy.
yeah, Ms. Price. Well, and Ms. Lovejoy. And we heard them both complaining and all the gossip about how all the teachers have been parking in different spots, and it's been the same way for 30 years, and they're done with it. So we thought of the idea, which we've seen from other schools, because a lot of high schools do this, but we've never had the opportunity to do it. So we wanted to buy our own parking spots and paint them. And we wanted it to be available to the teachers too, so we wouldn't have to listen to them complain about it anymore.
And the students love this idea, and there's promised participation for sure, and people are willing to pay for their spots. How it's going to work is I have this paper where they're going to come sign the sheet, pay for it in the office, and pick their spot, whatever. They have to show their ID, so proof that they have a driver's license. Seniors will get to pick first. We'll have a deadline, and then after that will be juniors, and then if there's any sophomores with their driver's license. We will pick a day where there's no conflictions, where everybody can come up at a certain time and paint their spot or whatever. They have to bring their own paint, because paint is expensive. And we can all share. I mean, there's going to be plenty. The design will have to be approved by the school, so nothing inappropriate. And even if y'all don't want to let them do whatever, we can do something related to school, because I know some schools do like paw prints or whatever, but I would like to see people show their personalities if y'all are okay with that. Teachers, like she said, are included. I think they would love that idea. There's a lot of creative teachers, and everything will be the same for them. Buy the spot, pick your spot, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot of fun with that. But benefits of this, a lot of school spirit, like Mr. Vanderpool said, a lot of people would love this idea and they have a lot of fun with it. And like I said, promise participation, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Resolves parking drama, for sure, and traffic issues if people argue about their spots over here in front of the gym, and it's going to make a lot of good money, I think. And Mr. Garrison's question, what if somebody parks in my spot? I talked to Mr. Vanderpool, and he said that we will call them out and make the move. So, yeah, that's all I have to mention.
In other places, I know Panhandle does it. Groomed uses tiger paws instead of the spot. I think Pampa does it as well. There's several schools that do it. River Road, Bushland, and I know that the kids get to show a little bit of their creativity and their personality in their spots.
I think there are some things that definitely keep us, like, we feel different from other schools because we don't do a lot of the big things that bigger schools do, and I think that this is something that we could incorporate to get more, student support and just a lot more fun throughout the school so that we can kind of connect in that way that we don't really connect.
I think it'll definitely improve the school spirit and participation.
I think it'll resolve a lot of drama too, because I hear someone arguing over who parked in whose spot every day.
Yeah.
So much are you charging for the spots?
So I talked to Ms. Garrison and he said $20 top. So we can lower it if y'all want 15. And
So you're talking for yearly though, right? A yearly spot?
yeah, just one, yeah.
So I know when we were in school, we didn't paint them, but we had parking passes, and the spots were numbered. And I think we paid 25, and
When I
we didn't have a
first
problem
got
with people
here,
parking
they
the spots.
did the parking spot thing, and it was like the closer to the door, the more money they paid.
I've heard some schools do
That's
like
what
a
Garrison,
raffle
yeah, but I
for
didn't
those
know.
better
That-
spots.
Which one does
That's what me and Garrison talked
silent
about, but I
auction?
didn't know.
They do like a auction for, some of the bigger schools do like auctions for the better spots. And they raise up, like, people will pay up to $200 for a parking spot.
You
Oh,
pay,
wow.
whoever pays most money wins that particular spot.
You can auction them, you can
Yeah.
auction them off.
I've seen people pay like $200 for a parking spot at bigger
Oh
schools.
my goodness.
River Road does it. There's
Yeah.
some spots that go for
Yeah, I'm pretty picky about my parking
Yeah.
spot.
Yep, you can auction them off.
There's also some in the last one. I've parked
Hey, trade wide, that John, say about that,
No, real wood.
In the parking
I
lot.
didn't tell you,
Yeah.
I didn't tell you 20. You're putting words in my mouth. No.
I started saying, I know he paid more than 25. Was it you that I asked?
I do 25, but that's just.
Okay, maybe it was.
Yeah, I think it was him. That didn't come out of my mouth.
He knows it's coming.
You could set a reserve. I mean, if you wanted to auction, it's $20 reserve. See, and then they start to bid at that point.
Just so that you don't get anything under 20. I mean, I don't, does anyone on the board have a problem with them doing this?
I think it's great.
No?
I
think we're,
I have a question.
I know we talked about it.
Yeah.
I know that some of them paint, some of them chalk. Would you be opposed to chalking instead of painting? Because we'll have to, I don't know what would be the cost to come back and repaint.
I think what the other schools do.
They just paint white.
And you can get your spot, you go in and cover up whatever was done the year before.
So at
Okay,
the
so
very
they'd be
end of
responsible
school,
for
you
coming back and
paint it
redoing
white
it.
or
That'd be
something?
fun. Yeah, that'd be a good deal.
So yeah, maybe as long as you put that in there kind of at the end of school, repaint it white or black, or whatever y'all want, just so that it's ready for the next year.
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
about
the
to
next person to buy it.
Next person to buy it will have to cover up whoever's.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that would be
Okay,
good.
I didn't know what
Yeah,
you
'cause
did. We
they
didn't
don't
paint, we just
worry about
plot our
people
spots.
getting their own.
Yeah, because they're not gonna do it, seniors aren't gonna do it.
I think you ought to make the board members buy their park place up there.
You gotta get here first.
Think of that. Park it back here.
Just because he always gets here. But no, I mean, you can work out the details with Mr. Vanderpool and Mr. Garrison, and as far as I think all the rest we're concerned, that's a great idea. And thanks for bringing it to us, and I agree. Every time I drive past Panhandle, I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
You know, that they've got their spots, so.
So this is money y'all are gonna raise for the student council?
Yes, for one of the organizations of this month.
Oh, you do, okay.
When would we paint them?
We're gonna set a date that doesn't have any confusion, so we'll have to look at football and everything else before we set a date.
You can do it over the break.
Weather
We'll have to pick a date.
So how are you gonna decide who to give the money to? Just like, are you
Well,
gonna?
we have
We have, well, we have like a spreadsheet, and it's not exactly for these things, but it was just kind of to plan something out. But like every month, we dedicate it. We try to dedicate it to one or two different things, just that we can support. Like whether it's I don't know, like BPA or band or like our student section. Like we've already bought. I got like $150 worth of stuff from the booster club. And we got a bucket of it, and it has like just a bunch of things that people can use at games, like our student section and stuff. And those were a big hit at some of like, I know, volleyball games and some football games and stuff. So we just kind of raise money throughout the month so that we can distribute it to what is like going on at that time of the year. If that makes sense.
Just,
Like
I mean,
whatever
it
sport
sounds like you're
is
gonna have a
or-
lot of money, so you
Yeah.
just have to sit down and
Yeah.
kind of figure out how you're
Yeah.
gonna spread it out.
Yeah.
But they can help you with that, so. Because it sounds like the teachers are gonna be like.
It's a start, it's a start.
We're gonna have to sell some parking spots around the field.
There you go. There you go.
We also spend a lot of our money on other stuff. Miss Audrey knows, like we buy the stuff for homecoming,
All the
like
decorations, the crowns for homecoming.
Yeah.
We do the Veterans Day, hopefully that becomes a thing. I know we haven't been able to have the breakfast in the last couple of years, and we decided not to do the breakfast this year just because the people are getting older, and it really was starting to dwindle down, where we weren't getting much participation. So that's why we went to the baskets this year. We do Angel Tree in December.
That we buy, we use our money that we fundraise for to buy all that stuff. So there's a lot of things that we need money for too, but we also try to raise money to help other things out.
So that's great. That's great.
Good idea.
Good job, guys.
Thanks,
Yep.
we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take plenty of pictures.
Yeah, we want to see
Come back and
pictures.
show them to us.
Okay.
Alright, that's all the guests for everybody? Alright, let's do the consent agenda, new business. Does anybody have anything to pull out? I know the Eagle Press and A1 Flooring both gave donations, we appreciate that. If there's nothing that anybody wants to pull out, then I need a recommendation.
I move to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 4.
Okay, I have a motion by Doug. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chad. All in favor? Oh, okay. And Rusty's going to abstain. And motion passes. Okay, so let's move on to all right, we need to canvass the bond collection. Do we have to do anything with that? Or just do the,
Just, you have in front of you the totals and the order that says the votes and that it did not pass. So you just have to approve the order. I can't remember the exact wording on it, whatever it says on the order of, at the top of that.
yeah, the order. All right, so everybody's got it in front of them and has looked at it, and I just need a motion.
I make a motion to order the canvassing of the bond election.
Or I think it's weird doing that. You gotta put it.
I move to approve the order canvassing the bond election.
Okay. I have a motion from Billy. Do I have a second?
No second.
A second from Mike. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries. That just means that we've all looked at the numbers and they've been official.
Who was the second?
Okay, and Mr. Hahn, you want to talk about the audit?
Oh, we previously approved this engagement letter, but he's changed, he had merged with another auditing firm, and I believe, I don't know the whole story, but now he's just doing it under his old firm's name, so we have to approve the engagement letter again, just because it's a different firm name. So,
Okay. All right, so I need a motion on that.
I move to approve the engagement of the 2021 audit from Kyle and Co.
Okay, I have a motion by Chad. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Logan. Was that you, Logan?
Yes.
Sorry, I had my head turned. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries. And we need to vote on the Moore County Appraisal District. So if we look at the ballot, does anybody have any questions about that? We have 6 votes to cast for 5 board members, so we have to figure out who we're going to vote for on the Moore County. Is that right? Or, 'cause I don't have any.
I mean, you don't have to. You could just
Okay.
choose not to even. It's entirely up to you. Our whopping 6 votes will make it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're not going to make
You
a
can
big
push
difference.
somebody over the top.
Unless someone sees someone that they want to vote for, we will just send this back. Okay, then let's
You'll have to
take
call.
no action.
No, nothing about it. Just make a motion and then those people do it.
Okay, all right. Okay, so, okay, we're gonna take them, we're gonna do a motion, and then we'll just let it sit, and then it'll, okay. I need a motion then for that.
Or do we have to do that?
You don't have to do anything.
That's what I
Okay,
thought, we
let's
just
do
did
that
it.
then.
Yeah,
Even
we
better.
can take no action. Let's do the what we said the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, no action. All right, now campus reports. Mrs. Searle? Oh, you want to go first?
You wanted to go ahead.
I get left last off.
Okay.
said he has a
Last name
timer,
starts
though.
with a W. Tell me you're not.
And that's the truth, I'm telling you. All right, so y'all didn't have that in front of you, so I get to actually come up here and do it.
Okay.
Just real quickly, go through our volleyball girls. They did phenomenal. Finished the year probably, they were playing the best volleyball they could possibly play. Took them to 5 sets. Those of you that were at the game, it's phenomenal. Came down to, Billy got beat by 2 points. I mean, that was what it came down to, but there was a couple questionable calls that went both ways, and but our girls battled, overcame adversity throughout the whole match. Was up 2-1 on them at one time. 4th set, I think if we'd have won the 4th set, like I said, that was the biggest turning point because they had the momentum going into the 5th set, but a great accomplishment with our girls. I couldn't be more happy with a group of seniors. They have a tough time replacing some of those seniors, and so just so you know, usually at this time I try to bring all district accolades up here for kids, but there's still a team in our district that's still playing at the 1A level, so they haven't released that to the press. So district policy states that we can't release that till everybody's eliminated in the playoffs, and so when that gets finished, I'll have those girls up here so that they can be recognized. We had a district meeting today in football. It's the same thing. I can't release any all-district accolades or individual accolades until the last team in our district is eliminated from the playoffs of football. So at the December meeting, I'll have those groups up here so they can be represented. But I couldn't be happier with the group. The transition time is usually real crazy. I kept clock last night at a basketball game. So I mean, it's just like I said, transition time is just absolutely crazy. But usually once that transition happens and it gets rolling, then you get more of a routine. But this time of year is really crazy until after Thanksgiving. Once Thanksgiving gets over with, Your tournaments have kind of dwindled and stuff like that, but once again, we're already hitting basketball in full force, both boys and girls. We've got 18 boys that are not playing football that are playing basketball. And so they played. And so they had a scrimmage last night, did well. They'll play again this Saturday here at 11 and 12. So basketball's in full force, even though we're playing football. So what I did want to do was kind of give you highlights on some of these pictures so you can see where we go. You can go and scroll down through this real quick. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I don't know if y'all have noticed the lights on out here when you come by through on Monday, Wednesday mornings. At 6:30, we bring the high school kids in, whatever team sport's going on. And so I've had some questions that have asked, hey, why were the lights on? Why were the lights on? Well, y'all need to know it. But during football season, we'll bring any high school football player up at 6:30, and we lift from 6:30 until about 7:15. So we get a 45-minute lift in on Mondays and Wednesdays before school. And then at 7:15, they come out here to the track, and we do all our conditioning either on the game field or on the track. On Mondays, it's usually on the grass, but on Wednesdays, and we do this year-round, we'll do either a 50-second test, which is basically how far around you want to get around the track in 50 seconds, or we'll actually do a full quarter and then time it. Now, what we've done in the past is we've given them a plain white T-shirt, and so what they do is that we'll literally time their quarter, and we'll write down their time on the quarter at the very, very beginning, and then after that, every week when they run it, if they beat their previous week's time, then we write their new time down in black. If they don't beat their time, then we put a big red X right below the time. And so they have to beat their best time in order to get a new time. And so at the end of the year, you can usually look at that shirt and tell whether a kid's gotten better or whether he's gotten worse based on the color of the shirt. It really is. But it also, they're not competing against the classmates per se, they're competing against themselves. So that's a big thing we do Wednesday-wise, just to compete. And I mean, imagine one quarter, it'll wear you out. But you can go ahead and scroll down now. But ultimately, that's the lights. And so if you see them, we're working. This is a picture of our band, boys up at band. We took the football boys up there. You probably heard about that, saw it in the paper. But it was a great, I'll be honest with you, it was probably one of the best bonding things for the football team because we went to Lynn's Grain Buffet. Some of those kids had never ate an octopus in their life. And so we went to Lynn's Grain Buffet and ate some buffet and then worked our MSG going up and down the stadium. But it was fun. I mean, they got to bond with the band. I don't know if you noticed it, but where they made a big SF in the bleachers, and we started something because I'm telling you, at the area band competition, later every school was doing that stuff, but they can't say they started it. We did it. So it was a fun experience, and it was good for our boys. Let me scroll down now. This was actually today. Sixth graders, we have a program called Platform that we put them in on the weight room, and our sixth graders literally do exactly what our 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, all the way up do in the weight room. And this is just a picture of us going through command lifts, and they're doing their auxiliary. So just getting them used to doing it the right way and getting them to do it the fundamental right. And so I thought this would be a great kind of just a demonstration of those guys getting after it in the weight room. And then on the very last one, this is like I said, alluded to earlier. They deep force in an area, so they actually made it 3 rounds because they got a first round bye. And in the second round, they just pummeled force in, but we lost the Plains. And then going forward, just so you get a preview of this Friday, we can go to that huddle link on Chrome. Oh, sorry, we got left the tab open. We're playing Sundown, and this kind of give you an idea, and you can see it play on there. Sundown's in red. Post is in white. Post got 3rd in their district. Sundown got 2nd. And this gives you an idea. They're big. They've got some size to them, so does Post. But it just gives you an idea of what you're going to be going up against. They're a physical team. But once again, very beatable. I mean, but I like to show some videos up here. It's tough to put a video clip on a Word document. But some of y'all actually have this huddle access and you get in there and watch your opponent. And so we've got every single game traded that Sundown's played all year on video, and our kids can go watch any game they want. And so that's good and bad because sometimes our kids are kind of mental midgets when it comes to looking at teams that are huge. And their line average is 265 and they're big and they're physical and they're a good football team. But like I said, we've played some really good football teams and we're playing really good football right now if we clean up the turnovers. Defensively, we're struggling to stop the run, but a lot of that has to do with weight room. We got to get better in the weight room. But offensively, we can move the ball and score points on people. I mean, we really can. I mean, that's been one of our staples here lately. So, but the team in red's what you're going to see us playing Friday, and they're big and they're good. Anybody have any questions? I don't know what my time was, Searles, but,
You're done.
okay, good. Thank y'all.
7 o'clock, ain't it? Is it 7
Yes,
o'clock?
it's 7 o'clock. We will be visiting team, and I actually wanted that because we're shooting a bunch of JV kids up that wanted to be a part of it, and I don't have enough black jerseys. I've got some blue and black, because JV was blue, but I don't have enough black in one, so we do have enough white to make sure it works, so we'll be the visiting. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay. And Mr. Olson, now do you want to go?
Okay, sure. Threw some pictures in of our Red Ribbon Week. We did have Sheriff Kemp and one of his deputies and the drug dog come out and talk to the kiddos. We split them up in 2 groups so they would have the opportunity to talk a little bit more. So that's the first several pictures. I also have some pictures in here of Ms. Hanson, our 2nd grade teacher. She has some kids who mastered their skip counting to their 4s, and kindergarten went to the pumpkin patch. They were really excited to get to do that again this year. We're starting to get some of our field trips and things back on campus that we haven't been able to do because of COVID. In 4th grade, they had a math escape room. They were pirates, and their teacher dressed up, Miss Grepo dressed up as a pirate, and the kids all got eye patches and pirate hats, and they had an escape room, and she makes math really fun. And so those were some of the things I included. I do have some upcoming events. Well, we had some of these already. We did have a hat day, and I want to bring back my guest Samantha Schick at another time so she can talk a little more about that. But she wanted to raise money for some less fortunate students in our school, and she wasn't really sure how to do it, so we came up with a hat day, and we raised $349, and so she's going to pick an angel off the tree, and her mom and her are going to go shopping, and so I want her to be able to come back and tell me what else she purchased and a little more about that once it's kind of completed. So she did a great job, and our kids really are going to, it's good for them to give back to others in need. We are currently doing GT referrals on campus. We had our 3rd and 4th grade music program this week, and it was very packed, and it was nice to see parents there enjoying their kids singing. And we did 2 different shows. That way we could just do it at the elementary school. We split it into 2 groups instead of 1, and I liked how that works. We didn't have to bus kids, but parents were able to come to the program, and we had packed house both shows, and the kids did wonderful. The Gideons are going to come hand out Bibles to the 5th grade. Like I said, we have Frank Phillips College coming up Friday. Next week we do have our Thanksgiving feast on Tuesday and Wednesday for our parents to come. And I do expect it to be a packed house both days because we haven't been able to do that in a while. So we will be all hands on deck those 2 days with a lot of parents. We've had a lot of invites to come have Thanksgiving lunch with their kids. Rotary Club is going to hand out dictionaries. We do have our math night next Thursday as well, so we'll have projects through the school at 6:30 p.m. Thursday night, and hopefully we'll have a lot of parents come and review the program or the projects. They're working really hard. 1st grade and kindergarten, I should add kindergarten, they're both going to have a Friendsgiving on the 19th with their grades, and they do have like little snacks, and they get together and they talk about Thanksgiving and friends, and we invite parents to come do that with their grades as well. And then we're going to have Santa Shop again, so we're getting prepared for Santa Shop and pictures with Santa Claus, and so we're trying to get all of those activities back, get our booster club, our PTO back involved, and have a lot of things going on campus. It's really making all the kids and parents happy that we're getting to invite them back to see us. I did include some charts as far as, if you want to skip past that one, Felix, to the next. There we go. I've got one for every grade and subject, so I'll just kind of explain like one of them, and then you can look more through those if you want to. But these are some Dmacc tests that we take every, they do it, it kind of depends on the grade level. So 1st and 2nd grade do one at 1 to 6 weeks. Some do them every unit. It just depends based on how it falls for their grade and their subject. We don't really do 6 weeks test quite as much as like junior high and high school, but how you look at these is if you look at the bars on the bottom first, that's probably the easiest way to look at it. These are percentages of that specific TEAC, and so that's the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, that specific skill that the kids are working on at that time. And so So for example, if you look at the red, that one's the easiest one, it stands out easiest. It's the lowest one, so they're struggling in that area still. And so right below it says it's ELA grade 2, 10A. So if you look up in the chart above and find ELA grade 2, 10A, it's talking about discuss the author's purpose for writing text. So that's telling you what specific skill they're working on. And then if you keep continuing over, there was only one question tested. So if they didn't do well on that one question, automatically, it's a low. So if you count up, this test had however many questions when you add those up. So one question is not always fair. But when you start looking at this a little bit more deeply, that's at a 15%, I don't want to say passing rate or percentage. These are old STAR questions. So this is a second grade test, but we use third grade STAR questions. And so they're harder. And then when you think about STAR questions, there's a little chart that we look at, and let me pull it up on my phone real quick. I didn't include it. I meant to bring you guys one. And this is a chart that I could bring because it's applicable for elementary all the way up through high school. And so when we look at STAR, second grade elementary reading, we want to look at these as what a STAR test would be passed. So STAR is not rated at the same passing rate as like a regular passing rate for a paper. So this, you see the little 70% bar, that's like a normal paper in school. Well, second grade reading, passing is actually at 53%. So when you if you were to refigure the bar and move it from 70 down to 53, that changes the percentage of kids that are doing actually better on some of these questions because STAR is a whole different scale as far as passing. So if you were to take that bar and move it down to 53, the questions, it looks a lot better when you look at passing for STAR and things like that. So that's when we are, as administrators, we start looking at STAR passing versus 70% passing, when we're looking at these Dmacc questions, because they are hard. And so we're looking at how are they going to do for STAR testing when it comes to this stuff. That one question there, this may be something that's a brand new topic that they may not have really had a lot of instruction on. Some of these topics are just for kids all over the board. And so when we look at these, we don't want to look at that one question in isolation. We look at it as we keep going. We want to see growth over the time. And so anyway, they're doing really well in some of these in certain areas, and some of them we still need to work on early in the year, but we're going to keep progressing. And you can kind of flip through these. They're for every subject, every grade through elementary school from. I just went ahead and put second grade up through fifth because first grade doesn't really do a lot. There's not a fair comparison as far as STAR because it's not really fair to give a first grade or third grade STAR questions. The test questions for first grade are a little different when we look at these, but we do these tests frequently. And so it's just some data for you to kind of skim through, and you can look through them if you have questions. I can try to answer more, but there's a lot to look at. And I can bring you one of those charts next time. That way you all have a chart when you're looking at, it goes from third grade all the way up through high school, the EOC tests and things like that. So you can see what STAR questions will be. And they're updated every year. It's at a website called Lead Forward. And they are probably the leaders in the data that, I don't know if they're in cahoots with the people that make the STAR tests, but we all print those charts out and use them every year, and we give them to our teachers so they know what is the passing standard going to be for STAR this year. And that helps us know, are we on the right track? Where do we need to work? That sort of stuff.
It's a little different. It's not pertaining to this really, but are you going to go back to in-person parent-teacher conferences this year?
I'd like to.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure. Do we have that built in on our calendars? I don't think we built it in, so we'll have to figure out a way to get that.
Does anybody have any questions? No, you're good. Yeah, probably, if you think about it, or if not, just email it to us or something.
Yeah.
When you first look at this, you're kind of like,
Yeah, it is, but when you look at the numbers as far as STAR goes, then it changes perspectives, and that little 70 line is something we can't actually change. It's built in Dmacc, so we all know where those numbers are at. We carry our charts everywhere we go, and we all look at numbers, so And I meant to bring that, I just didn't bring it with me.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might,
And it's different for every grade level, the percentage is different, they change it, I mean, it's a huge variety of where the numbers hit, so, 53 for one, it's a 50 for another, it might be a 40-something for another grade, I mean, it's crazy how they decide.
do they change year to year on
Yes.
this
Yes.
too?
And by subject.
Subject, grade, everything.
How often are you doing this?
We do these, I mean, we at least do 1 to 6 weeks.
Once a week.
And some do more. ELA do a little less because the standards for English language arts, they take longer to cover and they kind of spiral all in together. So you can't quite do as many for ELA and cover everything you need to. Math usually is the one that does the most frequent, at least on my campus.
Yeah.
But,
Trying to simplify it a little bit, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like, just a trend line, to see whether we're gaining or whether we're falling.
I know, and the reports they're printed, I mean, we only have a certain amount of reports we can print
Right.
from the data. So I tried to pick the one that was the easiest. It was the
Okay.
most current test.
I don't know if it'd make it easier on you, is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
if it was just that, because this is a ton of information. that
You're right, I know.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anything about, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to see the trends, I want to see
Yes.
them coming up, of course.
Right, and the one, when we do our NWA test, that one's easy to see because we'll do that again in January. And so I brought y'all that one last year, and so, or last time, and then when we have the one in January, there's an actual trend line. You see growth or a drop. So that one's an easier one to have trend lines. Dmacc is not as easy to see trend lines, but it is some data there.
Okay. Thanks.
So on that, where it shows the 70%,
Mhm.
that's really high.
It is really high.
What you're
70%, so let me just tell you this. Let's just say that, look at the same one. Let me pull my chart
Which
back
one
up.
you on?
A third grade, or second grade, we can say here, to be masters, on STAR test, masters is 85. So that kind of gives you in relation to a 70, a kiddo who would be in the 85s would be a master's student. So 70 is high.
Yeah.
So in those yellows, would that be, how much closer would that be, just
The yellows, well, so,
like that 59, would that be over?
yeah, 59 would be over. It was 53 for passing meets, or approaches in STAR.
I would say second graders did pretty good.
No, second graders are doing great.
Third grade looks really, really good.
It does, and see, this is third grade, this is a third grade STAR test, essentially. So, yeah, if you were to flip to some of the others, the next one is a third grade.
So y'all consistently do that, like first take second, second, third, fourth, fifth, so forth.
Most of them take grade level, but like on Dmacc, it's the old release test, so they use the previous STAR push, so they do bump them up a little bit. They're not easy tests. Dmacc are not easy tests. And so it pushes the kids, which we want to push them, because if we can push them, then that just helps them do better.
Okay, all right, Mr. Pearson?
As you get going, there's some things that have been going on in junior high. Of course, we got a whole bunch of activities that are coming up. We have the UIL academic meet coming up on Friday at Frank Hills College. Right now, I think we have about 45 students that are going to be going to that on Friday. Basketball is starting for boys and girls. Their first game is going to be Monday. All of the cuts, all the teams have been assembled, so they're ready to rock and roll. They're ready to get going on that. Our student council on the 18th of November is going to be going to Canyon for it's a TASC District 1 Fall Leadership Workshop. It's going to be basically half a day around to other schools. People are going to be presenting information, just talking about leadership, what you can do to end up becoming a leader that you need to be. So I got some good things going with that. The pictures I had do it with Red Ribbon Week. Of course, we ended up having good participation on that, just some of the pictures there. During last month, we ended up having our Socktober, where the kids would donate new socks, and we ended up collecting over 80 pairs of new socks that the student council is going to be giving to Salvation Army. The following month, we did cans for CCS. Next month, they're already making plans as far as what they want to do for next month. We're not sure it's going to be angle tree and stuff for those that need it. As we were going on it, and if you want to keep on scrolling, Felix, and just some of the kids doing their or do I say, the data, I made mine a little bit simpler, I just did the graphs, because it's a whole bunch of information. And like Ms. Earls was saying, on the top graph, the red and the green, that's where if you were to go, like 70's passing, numbers aren't quite what they should look like. But whenever you get into that bottom one, this is based on the star. Ours are the same way, everything's a little bit different. The two graphs I brought were for 6th grade and 7th grade math. A little bit difference as far as the scores, as far as masters, meets, and approaches. For 7th grade math, 80 and above is master. For 6th grade, 79 and above is master. You get down to, the meets and approaches. Approaches for 7th grade, 40 to 63. 6th grade, 39 to 61. So everything's just a little bit different. But as we look at the numbers, we can see and really look at that bottom graph, bottom chart, the cumulative star performance. The thing I'm most impressed with and I like is the approaches. We have 87% of our students in 7th grade that approaches in meets level. So they're getting there. We weren't that way where we needed to be. That means we have a good shot of 87% of our students right now of doing really well in the start. And with the 6th grade, we're at 89%. Our biggest thing, and I always talk to the teachers, hey, we just need to get a few more, build them up. A few more, build them up. Get a few more from the approaches into the meets, a few more from the meets to the masters, and then we do that, we're back on track where we need to be. Our teachers are holding these kids accountable and responsible for doing their work and putting the work in, and whenever they do that, we get the results that we need to. All right. And unlike with Mr. Moneymaker, on our common lit, I'll bring some data on that because on this one, it does show their growth as they're kind of going through based on certain things, because even though they're doing different stories, different units, different things, it looks at themes, points of view, vocabulary, how are they doing on this stuff, and on some of theirs, we've got some good trends. Right now, our biggest thing with a lot of students is point of view, being able to identify it, and reasons to support and back up what's going on to support their opinion on the writing aspect of it. So we get them to think a little bit more, get them thinking in the directions that they need to think, give them the tips, give them the help they need. We're going to end up, and I'm praying every day, hey, these kids keep working, we're going to get there, and we're going to be where we need to be on start.
I don't know. Y'all don't do it in person, do you? Typically at the junior high.
I've
already
had some parent-teacher conferences already, yes, sir.
I didn't know if you did like the elementary did or not.
Oh, with the big one, right now, we've just been doing it based on if parent needs it at that point. I mean, they said.
I know they're going to talk about it, but I was just curious. I didn't know if they did or not at the junior high.
In the past, we have done it in the junior high. We did it district-wide.
You did?
Lots of the parents don't show up at the junior high.
No. It's definitely more receptive by elementary, but we used to offer it to everybody.
Right. I think it's fair to offer it to everybody, even if, I know a lot of people don't show up, but if we're trying to get more people involved with our kids and their education, I think we need to open the doors for it. So that's just me.
The food scroll down to the last thing, as always. We believe in the chief. Got that all over the place.
And I did just email all of you that chart.
Okay, yeah, that'll work, thank you. So, on the math, just kind of, I know, you brought math and he brought math, and math is a big deal. Trying to get our grades up. So, besides them just going to class, do we have a plan? Do we've got tutorials? Do we have computer software? Yes. I know we do in the reading. I'm just not sure what we have in the math.
We have every bit of it.
Yeah. And with our math teachers over at the junior high, they have tutorials every day after school.
Okay.
And Miss Kim, who's part-time high school and junior high, she does the high school in the morning, junior high and after school. Miss Etheridge does it in the morning and after school for those that need it. Our social studies reading teacher, Ms. Sherwin, he's doing it after school. Anytime.
So there's
excuse me.
time available
Yes.
if the kids, they need to come in, there's time available.
Miss Kim is there at 7 a.m. most of the time, and the other night, Thursday night, when I got, no, I guess it was Wednesday night, she left at 6:30. I've never seen somebody work as hard as that, ever. She lives up there. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, our kids get done with football practice in the morning at 7:30, and they're hauling tail to get in their tutorial.
And they still have, yeah, because I know like my son played baseball and then it was late, last period. And so a lot of times tutorials didn't work out if he was in athletics, so.
She works around him.
Yeah, and a lot of our teachers, if they need to, they will take their lunchtime to have tutorials for those that need it.
Okay, all right.
And then part of the House Bill 4545 requirements, we all had to offer, any student that didn't pass the STAR test last year, we're having to offer them specialized tutorials during the day to make sure that they have those skills that they missed last year. And we had to purchase, it can't be something that everybody's doing, it had to be something specific for those kids where they were struggling. So some of us purchased programs like, and the states offered some free math programs like 3 through 8 math. There's a program called ST Math. It's free. We're signed up. We're using that. Every grade level has something they're offering for kids who struggled last year, and they're targeting skills in reading and math both.
Okay, reading and math both is great. Because we've talked about reading a lot, but we hadn't really talked a lot about like what you had.
Yes.
And I know, but I think that's because we had to buy the reading. So, but I had seen where there was funds available for buying things, like you say, to catch up, especially.
Yes. And I think we used some of the ESSER money too to purchase some programs that were to help with like COVID slips and different things like that. We purchased a lot of different things this year and all.
Well, that's good. It's hard.
It's
you know the slip just over summer and even the holidays sometimes when you have 2 or 3 weeks out. So imagine for a year. So yeah. Well, we thank y'all a lot for that. Appreciate it. Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Pearson? Okay. Mr. Vanderpool?
All right. Felix, you ready? We continue the school year. All right, November, as Coach Wiggins said, and this is something new that I've never really seen. I saw it on Facebook, and I was impressed that he did it. The football team going out and supporting the band, because a lot of time the band supports the football team, and sometimes they don't get that shine. Picture below that is actually a group of mothers who danced like a bunch of old women at a pep rally. And if you did not get to see that, it was quite entertaining. They came out 2 weeks ago, I guess?
It was interesting.
Yes, yes, it was.
It was all over Facebook. If
Yes.
you didn't see it, you just didn't look because it was awesome. And I'm the leader of the pack.
Yes,
She
yes.
is awesome.
And I know that some of the boys didn't even recognize their own mothers, so that was particularly entertaining. Lady Eagles, Frank Phillips game versus Stinnett right there. Scroll down, Felix. We had Eagle Marching Band. They competed at area. Their journey stopped there, but if you did not get the opportunity to listen to them, they were absolutely fantastic. We went and saw them at district and at area, and highly impressed with the work that they were doing, what Mr. Lucas is doing. Scrolling further down, just wanted to highlight, that our kids are busy. Football players still go down on Friday mornings and greet the elementary kids. Our mascot is in the band. Coach Wiggins' other son was helping with the victory bell that day. Get a picture of that, and I highly enjoy hearing them ring that bell going through town on Fridays. We had dress-up days for Red Ribbon Week. Scroll down. We had an elderly day. We had a twin day where I dressed like a kid, and he had no idea I was coming like him, so trying to develop some relationships with those kids. Teachers were crowns, teachers were M&Ms. We also had our regional cross-country boys compete. They did not advance, but you have to take your hat off to those kids because cross-country is not the easiest sport in the world. Running 3 miles for fun, it's not real fun. So, but they did a good job competing and representing us. And then some of those boys actually got into a Suburban and tried to make it back for football practice. So, have to give them attendance and enrollment. We're still taking hits on COVID. It's starting to kind of trend upward, trying to get some of these kids who like to be attendance, I don't want to say issues, but trying to get them motivated to come to school. We lost one yesterday, so we're actually at 214. But to get some of those kids motivated to come to school, I have thrown out Saturday school. I'm going to start that next month probably. I talked to the kids who are in danger of that, and if they're below 85% attendance for the year cumulatively, they're probably going to be spending some Saturday mornings with me for 4 hours to make up time. And I keep telling them, I got to be up here anyway. I'm working on my dissertation, so it's crunch time for that. So bring the kids up and let them make up some time. And start getting them to see the value in their education. Scrolling further down, basketball started. This picture on the right is a picture of Mrs. Line, who is also our theater teacher, or does one-act play. She does our dual credit English. Very busy woman, but she's also an excellent educator. Continuing to scroll down, Felix. Y'all asked about the Flex program. I got some numbers for you. Total of Flex, we have 48 students. On the right-hand side, high risk is the blue, and that accounts for about 16.7% of our kids. Move-ins are 11, which is almost 23%. Credit recovery, which is from COVID or move-in, 15, 31.2%. And extenuating circumstances, that could be family issues, moving from out of state, just various issues. They're sitting at 29.2%. Keep in mind that with our Flex program, what Mrs. Lyles and myself are working with, majority are move-ins who come in with little to no credit. So we're trying to get kids who are 17 or 18 years old who have 2 credits back on track. We had one move in from Oklahoma. He seems to be motivated. He's actually not in Flex because we cannot give him credit for moving in at 9 weeks. He's taken, and he came to us with, I think, a credit and a half. He did not go to school at all last year. Once COVID hit, he just quit coming. So he's motivated. And what we want to do with the Flex program is we want to start putting some of those kids in there that are actually going to do the work, instead of those kids who are coming in and saying, well, I'm going to do the work, and then they don't want to do it, or they become an attendance problem. So we're trying to get some motivation there and get those kids to get caught up and kind of reward the kids who might actually need to graduate early or who have a plan for what they want to do. Flex is we've also thought about changing the name and just putting a more positive spin on it. Majority of these kids are on a program called Edgenuity, which is a credit recovery program. I used it in Grimm. I know Mr. Garrison used it over here, so I'm familiar with it. And you can make up class credit very, very quickly. We're just having some issues motivating those kids. They're not your traditional academics. Home life they struggle with. They could be living with grandparents. They could be living with aunt and uncle. They may be taking care of their siblings at the house. So a lot of those kids, you have to keep in mind that the priority is not always their education. Their priority might be, what am I going to eat tonight? So you have to find alternative ways to motivate them. But I did want to give you a visual on that program. Scroll down, Felix. Looking at our ELA Unit 1 CBA, or Curriculum-Based Assessment, this was given by Ms. Lovejoy. You'll see that 8 students in her CBA are at Masters. 23 are at Meets, which is 44% of the students she tested. 11% are at Approaches, which is passing standard, and 10 students are below. So out of her, let's see, that's 34 plus 8, that's 42. Out of 52 kids, she has 42 that are passing a STAR test coming up. Moving on to Ms. Kim's, she had 24 plus 12. That's 36 students out of there. That's not all of her students, I know that, but those are the students that took the CBA. She had 24 out of 36 kids, so you're looking at 67% are at Approaches. which is a passing standard for math. Math, I believe, is what, 45%? Roughly? 43 to 45%. So if you get a 43 or a 44 on a STAR test, you pass the test. Off the top of my head, I don't think that 56% of our kids passed an Algebra 1 STAR test last year. So they may be struggling in class, but obviously they're getting some type of academic content. They're not where we want them to be by any means, though. Scrolling down, we have Mrs. Armour. She's already done 3 of them. Keep in mind, her tests are harder than the normal test, harder than the STAR test. So she's got 55% approaches on her first one, 39% approaches on her second one, 45% on her third one, depending on what TEKs. Now, keep in mind that different TEKs get taught on different CBAs for her. So one may be dealing with civil rights while the other one deals with World War II or something like that, or citizenship. But overall, you can see that the students below are sitting at like 3. So she's hovering around 10% that are not passing. So for all of our juniors, only 10%. If you told me that 10% right now would not pass a STAR test in November, I'd take it, because by the end of the year, they're going to be there. So you can tell that she's working hard. And she's also our yearbook sponsor, and she spends time at the junior high, so she's busy. Scrolling down, Felix, I just wanted to give y'all guys an idea. This is actually the Algebra 1 demographic breakdown. This is what I look at in regard to our STAR test, because it breaks it down by male, female, African American, Asian. I don't think we have any Asians in Algebra 1. We don't, but we do have 3 Hispanics, 1 American Indian, 29 white or Caucasian. It breaks down your low socioeconomic and your SPED kids, which is, those are the kids that you want to make sure that they're passing. If those kids are struggling, that hurts the school. So overall, we want to take those low socioeconomic kids and we want to take those SPED kids and get them to where they're passing, because it's going to improve the scores for the school. And overall, that's what you want. Because if those kids who have troubles at home or differences in their learning styles are passing a STAR test, then the kids who have 2 parents at home, they eat good, they go to sleep, their parents are always there, their parents are working, everybody else is going to be cake. It's going to be great, which is what we want. And then move.
About the algebra scores. When you look at the algebra scores, they do look worse than other subjects, but you have to consider, when you look at an English score, like for 9th grade, that is every single 9th grade student. But for Algebra 1, as a freshman, she only has like middle, high to low, because the high kids took Algebra 1 in 8th grade. So the algebra scores always look worse than all the other subjects because the higher level students took the test when they were in 8th grade.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Okay. I was once in his shoes, and one of the things that I was upset about was when I first got there was 24 kids in Algebra 1 in 8th grade. And some of those kids had just barely passed the math STAR from the previous year, but they were a good student. But that didn't mean, in my opinion, that they needed to take the math, the Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Because ultimately what that did is it absolutely ruined our high school scores, because now the only ones taking it in high school are the ones that absolutely were not even successful in math. Not to mention the fact that the ones that took it in 8th grade, they may have passed it, but they barely approached it. So you get points and your score gets those merit points for how many kids meet or master. Well, if they couldn't meet or master the 7th grade STAR or the 6th grade STAR, and we're putting them in Algebra 1 in 8th grade, we're setting ourselves up for failure. So you might get a phone call, because my decision last year at the beginning of the year was no matter what, and I had a son involved in it, if you're a 6th grader, you will not get in 7th grade honors math unless you master the STAR test. No matter what. And it was not popular because some kids barely missed it by question. But then their 7th grade year, they got a chance to redeem themselves. If they want to get an Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, they can master it in 7th.
But to me, the only ones that need to be in Algebra 1 in 8th grade are ones that have mastered the Math STAR test in 6th or 7th grade.
But honestly, that makes sense because to get into dual credit classes, you have to meet a certain score that the college sets, which when you look at that score, it is the higher, it's masters. And so our honors classes, by doing that, it aligns them all and it makes the standard be higher. And it's actually better.
Well, and I think also in this group, you know, they're at a disadvantage because this was based on the old. You learn a lot from your classmates. And so like in the 7th grade group right now, I think how many are in honors now? 8 and 10 maybe at the moment?
6 or 7.
6 or 7. That's how many mastered the Math STAR last year in 6th grade. And so if there's some more 7th graders now that master their 7th grade STAR, then they'll mix with those kids and they'll all be in Algebra 1. But the point I'm making is now you've got a bulk, you got 50 kids taking regular 7th grade math. They're going to learn from each other a lot more than they would learn necessarily from just the teachers, so they collaborate with each other. And they're not labeled as the dumb kids. They're not labeled as the ones that, you know what I'm saying? It's not a political match. It's cut and dry, black and white. If you can master it, you're now. It's not popular,
But we're still doing the same process.
there you go. Standard of excellence. It is what it is. Felix. That's right. But in all Miss Kim's defense, like she said,
Miss Lyles is starting to put out, I think she's doing it twice a month, right?
I think just monthly.
Just monthly. And it is a counselor's corner type thing, where she's got, and I couldn't figure out how to get the entire PDF into my PDF, so that's why it's not there. If you'd like a copy of this, I can send you the copy of this more. She posted it in the Sanford Ridge High School group. We are having a FAFSA night next Monday.
Yeah, we have one.
It's actually a secondary.
Okay.
On
There
the
we go.
agenda. Yeah.
Okay, good. And Ms. Carr did a teacher spotlight. I wanted to talk a little bit about attendance, but I didn't want to come off like a negative Nancy and make parents feel like I was scolding them for not getting their kid to school. So I left that out until I can figure out how to positively approach it. She's working on, we're going to do some awards for kids who get their FAFSA turned in, buy them lunch or something like that. She's got some FAFSA applying to college. She's got a bar graph that talks about, that she's going to put up in the hallways about how much scholarship money we won. She talks about CTE in there, just some good stuff. And I will inform you, just so that y'all are informed, I do have 2 students in DAEP right now, for 30 days at least, because I feel like y'all need to know that. But other than that, I didn't want to end on a negative note, but that's, I needed to inform y'all of that. Trying to just get kids into class, get them to learn. I feel like it's overall everything's been positive. Coach Wiggins keeps the boys in line. Ms. Carr helps me keep the girls in line. I feel like a lot of times me and Mrs. Carr are just chasing kids down, but I would say overall it's pretty successful, And I would say that the relationships with the kids, we're creating some relationships, and it's a positive thing. So, I'm happy. I think most of the teachers are happy. We're not where we want to be, but we're definitely taking steps to where we need to get. So, if y'all have any questions, I'm an open book. I'll answer them the best I can.
Does anybody have any questions? The only question I have real quick, back on the Flex program. So when they go in there, do you have a very big percentage that once they catch up with their credits, they go out back into regular?
Yeah.
Okay.
To my knowledge, yes. We've got some kids right now that we've got 2 in particular we're trying to get them out. Because not that they're bad kids per se, but they need to be graduated.
They need to be graduating. What about, do any go back into the normal classes?
Yes. We've got one that's I don't know if he's classified as a senior yet, but he should be caught up by Christmas. And he will graduate and walk in May.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank y'all very much. And I'm not skipping Coach Wiggins, he already knows. So as we're going down our list, I skipped you last week. I apologize for that. Okay, or yeah, was it last week? It seems like it was last week, sorry. It's been a heck of a month. Yeah, okay. Richard, save me.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything specific about the financial reports. If you look on the summary, we're just about where we should be on both expenses and revenue. We are at the bottom of the summary reports. We are down to 620 and really small text, so I can't see the decimal point, but so just a tad above 620. That's a low spot for us to be at this time of the year. I'm really hoping we can improve on that if the attendance improves because of the COVID's starting to go back out of the picture again, we hope. At the rate we're currently, if you just look at the first 6 weeks at the rate we're dropping, we'll be down to the 607 number the TEA has set for us. Well, that's what they said last year. I don't know what they're projecting this year, but I don't anticipate that we will. I mean, we had, there was that big Delta burst, and so we had a lot of kids out, and hopefully that's behind us, and so hopefully we won't continue to drop on that. If you look just at the 6 weeks, we were at 615 for the second 6 weeks, so it was quite a bit lower. But like I said, I really hope that kind of turns around. I did add an additional report. I give you an Excel spreadsheet every month, but I just added the report that I get the data off of the Excel spreadsheet, just so that you guys can have more information. So I'll start adding that to the report as well. It does let you see, like for example, in 11 instructional, you can look and see how much is spent on supplies, how much is spent on salary, how much is spent on other, the 6,400 other, that's typically travel. There's a few other things that go into other, it's the catch-all category, but the vast majority of the time that's travel. So anyway, I just added that report so that you can have more information. I have a couple other things to talk about. Is there anything on the reports that anybody has a question about?
I think so.
Okay, then I will move on. Okay, this one is about the Appraisal District. So there's been an ongoing lawsuit since I was on there, and I'm sure it was on there when Rusty was on there with DCP. I think it was with Generators, I believe it was, that they went ahead and paid their taxes, but they sued saying you guys are appraising them at too much. And so then, I think it is, if memory serves me the story right, they now either sold the company or declared bankruptcy, one of the two. And they sold those generators, and when they sold them at much less price than what they were appraised at. And so then they came and said, look, see, we told you they weren't worth what you're appraising at. Do I have that wrong?
No, you're right.
Yeah,
But
okay.
what they're saying is not right.
Yeah, so they have a settlement offer on the table. We have a meeting on the 15th that I'll attend at the Appraisal District to talk about it. The other appraisal districts have gone ahead and accepted the offer. So I believe we're the last one to try to accept the offer. Because the alternative, if the appraisal district doesn't accept the offer, is we have to go to court. And then the people that make up the appraisal district, us, Borders, Stinnett, the cities, the hospital district, we would all foot the bill of fighting this lawsuit. Well, that's probably not going to happen. We just don't have the money to do that. So we're probably going to take the settlement. For us, it reduces our appraised value by $7 million over a 3-year span. So I talked to Joe, the chief appraiser, and we think that's going to be $30,000 a year, so $90,000 we have to pay back in taxes. Now, sorry, I had a catch in my throat. So now, we don't lose that money because as a school, we're kind of weird. So like if the city, whatever their portion of the settlement offer is, they're just gonna lose that money. But for us, if you remember how the school finance works, what if we have a formula target. This is the amount of money that we make. And some of it gets paid out of property taxes and the rest gets made up by the state. And if you get less property taxes, then the state pays more. So what will happen is we'll lose that money. We'll have to pay DCP $90,000, whatever it is. But then we, Purdue, Brandon, and Moffett are our attorneys for appraisals. And I talked with them today. They will then file an appeal with TEA saying, hey, look, their values changed, and then get TEA to re-audit those years that the values changed for, and we'll get a portion of that money back. Now, they take 7%, so the, let's put something else I need to talk about. So they take 7%, so we'll lose that 7% for sure. But then we'll lose a little bit because if you remember, those of you around here, when we did the TRE, when we raised taxes, so say we raised taxes 10%. I don't remember the exact number. And say that raised $100,000, our budget actually went up like $130,000 because the way the TEA formulas work, the more tax you bring in, the more money you get. So when we lose it, we'll lose some of that from TEA. I mean, so say we pay out $90,000, we'll probably get $60,000 of that back. So we'll still end up losing a little bit of money, but the vast majority of it will be made up by TEA. Now, this is nothing that we had any control over at all. So like they had a generator, they say it was worth $10,000. DCP said, we don't believe you, but we paid the taxes on it. And so now, in this lawsuit, at the settlement, they're saying, okay, it's worth $2,000 now, and you owe us the money back for it. And so every taxing entity in this Hutchinson County will have a portion of it. So there's nothing we could have done. It's just the way the tax system works. So, any questions on that one? Okay. Gym AC units. So I did talk with our consultants. Wow, their name just popped out of my head. Audrey, yeah. I did talk with Mr. Audrey, and what he recommends is that we do units that have humidistats built in them. So not doing separate humidity devices, but just build them within the unit. It's going to be about, I think it was about $6,000 more than just buying the units. So it's actually not a significant, I mean, was already a significant expense. It's not significant more. If we went to separate dehumidifiers, they would cost significantly more than $6,000 for the two gyms. So we did go ahead and put out the RFP. I got it wrong, and instead of having it be called today, I have it called tomorrow. So we'll be bringing it to you next month. It's going to be around $91,000 to replace all 6 units. We have one of the units completely non-functional at the moment, and it won't be functional again. So we're down 1 unit. So I'm still going to next month bring to you the request to add 91,000 roughly. I mean, whatever the proposal ends up being. But it's going to be right around there. That we go ahead and do that. So that we can, those units, they're far beyond their lifespan. So they really do need replaced. But just so you know that that's coming, so the RFP, like I said, we open them tomorrow, which I'm at a workshop, so if you could open that. So, does anybody have any questions on the gym units? What he proposes is it'll have 2 different sensor, kind of like, one will be a thermostat and one will be a humidity thing. So the reason he said that you want to do a humidistat in it is AC, like the AC we have in this room is off right now because it's at temperature, so it's not drawing any moisture out of the air. When you put a humidistat in the unit, the humidistat can run all the time regardless of whether the unit's running cooling or heating. And so you can set the specific humidity you want to reach at the room, and it'll run independent of the heating or cooling function. So it actually looks like a pretty good system to me. So.
Speaking of the AC units because of the floor?
Yes.
Where are we at with that?
So they did, the coaches came, they said, hey, it looks like it's getting worse, but when the guys came from Ponder, they said that it looks like it's getting worse because it actually had gone down a little bit, but now the floor had some play in it. So they've come and, I believe they've already come and nailed those loose parts down. And then this summer we're gonna have to sand the floor. It's gone, you're supposed to, I thought it was every 10 years. They told me nope, every 7 years. We had tried to do it last year, but because of COVID, I could never get them to even answer the phone. We're gonna have to come and sand the floor down anyway and repaint and put a fresh coat of wax on it. When we do that, they'll replace it. If any boards need replaced, they'll replace it, and if they'll fill over the nails so that the nails aren't visible, or screws, I think is what they use. So they'll fix those boards when they do the sanding this summer. So their hope, the way the owner explained it to me, is that those boards have expanded because of the humidity, and that they're so tight that they're cupping up. And so he really thinks that it's already improving because of what we did. At least that's what he told us when we were there. So he did tell us for a while that, what, it's not the humidity, we haven't decided that. And we're like, what? This is what you told us the entire time. And then when he actually came there, he was like, oh yeah, it's the humidity. And so
throughout the whole floor, or just one spot, or?
There's 3 or 4 spots, but I think they screwed down just right underneath the baskets. They had a considerable amount of play in the floor.
They haven't done yet, but
They were supposed to have.
Yeah.
Whether they've actually come down, I'll double check on that. They were supposed to have come and screwed it down. Because they were supposed to come that next weekend after we talked, is what they told us. So that's where we're at. So he does think that it's not going to require redoing the entire floor. The boards they put screws in, they're going to replace those because the screws will be visible and they won't be appealing. But we're going to have to do the other maintenance anyway, so they should be able to take care of it at that time. So, and like I said, they're fairly certain that it's a humidity issue.
And do you have those humidity reports that they did? Because they came in and did readings, right?
They did, and I asked.
Okay. Well, can you get us the humidity reports for when we do next month for the RFP?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Hold on.
For the first time ever.
Coach Hill has.
He does. I thought I asked him. Well, I'll have to look for it. I think I may have already gotten them from.
Okay. All right. Well, if we could just have that along with the bids, that would be great. Cause I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just have to
Humidity's
ask him
hard
again
sell
because I don't have it.
Okay. And what else did you have?
Our first rating, it didn't come in time to get it on this agenda, but we do have now our final first rating. We scored 98 out of 100, so I'm pretty happy about that. So, because I believe, was it last year that we weren't the top rating anymore? I think it was. So we're back. We only lost 2 points. That's because our debt to assets ratio, and we'll always lose 2 points on that one. Ever since I've been here, we've lost 2 points, so 98 is really the most we'll ever get. So I'm pretty happy about that. There'll be some things next year. Like if you spend 25% of your fund balance, you'll take the maximum score you can get is the 89. So we did spend 25% of our fund balance this year. So our maximum next year will probably be the B rating. But I am pretty happy that we got back to the A rating this year. So that'll be exciting, and we'll have to do a not a workshop, a public forum next month on the first reports. So. Then I've got a couple more things here. The bond. So y'all need to know where we are now because we didn't get the bond. So we did a reimbursement resolution, if you remember, for the $1 million. So that's, with the bond not passing, it's up to you guys whether we want to try again. We have 18 months from the passage of that reimbursement resolution to try to get that, so that $1 million is online. So that means we have to have purchased the bonds by May of 2023. So that means we could try again in the May of this year, of this 2022, or we could try again in November of 2022. If we don't try at those two places, then we no longer have the ability to reimburse ourselves that $1 million we spent at the elementary. So, I mean, it's something you guys need to think about. Do we want to try the bond again? If we don't try the bond again, where we are right now is, like I told Stacy this, I think, we currently, my estimate is that by the end of this year, we're going to be at 2.9 million in our fund balance. But we do have some things that we still have to fix, even if the bond didn't pass. We have to, like I would like to do these AC units, so that's 100,000. The windows still need to be replaced. Those are leaking. I mean, the ones that have obviously leaked we have replaced, but there's no reason to believe that the ones exactly like them on the other rooms have not been. You're talking 200,000 there to replace all the rest of the leaking windows. So, I mean, you're probably talking $300,000 to $400,000 that we still need to spend to bring that facility up to functional. Now that does leave all the vinyl in all the rooms and everything like that. We just don't have the capacity to do it without the bond. If we try to do it with our own maintenance department, one room at a time, you're talking 5 to 10 years for us to get it done, just because of how long it would take. So that's really where we're at on the bond. So we do need some direction, whether you guys want us to start putting it together again, or how you guys feel of where you want to go from here. So
something about the bond, we were going to do the playgrounds to make it down ADA compliant. How long do we have?
So since we're going to do the small playground, and we are required to do the large playground.
Right.
So that's another 120,000, and you have until somebody files a complaint. So really, we'll have to do it within the next year, I would anticipate.
Can we get the elementary playground?
We have all the materials.
We have all the materials for the small playground. We just haven't done it yet because our maintenance department had a staffing issue, which we're pretty much restaffed there, but we've asked a couple of people to give us quotes. The first one we laughed at and ran away. But we have one more company giving us a quote there. They're a local contract company that we've done a lot of stuff. I'm expecting it to be a fairly decent quote. If it's not, then we're going to go to PTO, volunteer, see if we can get everybody just together and have a Saturday party where we install a playground. I mean, because
I have volunteers ready.
The company that sold us the turf, that's actually what they recommend, because then you have ownership of your playground. So we may be sending out some emails about that to you guys saying, hey, here's a day.
I think you'd be surprised how many might show up.
Yeah, well, I know, I actually...
Oh, you've already been written down on the list.
What's the rules on child labor law?
I can hand out water. I can hand out water.
So yeah, that is another, so I mean, you're probably up to about 500 that we have to spend. Once we start getting down below 2.5 million, I start getting a little antsy. We hit 2 million in our fund balance, I'm going to be very antsy. you know, we don't have to have that much, but if something else happened,
Yeah.
we're
Too
not-
many crazy things happen here.
yeah, you need money in the bank in case you have to have something, so. Anyway, like I said, and you guys don't have to decide tonight, but we do need some direction on you. Do we want to try to do it again? Do we want to just fix what we can? So,
Is there other things we could have volunteer days for?
that was on the bond list, probably not.
I think there was something.
No, because you have the junior high playground, which, I had high dreams for that one, because I was hoping to get, Phillips involved and, make that more than a playground, almost like a little park over there, so that while you're at games or like maybe a walking track around it and stuff. I had high hopes of getting some donated money to match what we could get out of the bond, but yeah, high hopes of a lot of things.
Well, we'll all kind of think about it, and then next month we'll.
Yeah, because we would need to know by next month.
Yeah.
Because we will have to get started on it.
Speaking of Phillips, where are we at on the sign?
So the electric has been an issue. We've been waiting on it. Stacy called Excel today and finally got them to get the ball rolling. So we should have electric installed. The sign company still hasn't finished the sign. How they can have borders finished a year ago and ours not completely done yet.
Is Excel installing the meter and the?
They're just installing the service.
Yeah.
So,
Border fed theirs out of the building. They didn't have to set up all the meter and all that.
Yeah, we have to set the pole in the.
Right.
the-
so there you
Yeah, they
go.
just
Well,
get it.
but the sign company still hasn't even finished making
He's got to
it.
be in Geneva
Yeah.
tomorrow.
So.
And so, yeah, there was just a lot of miscommunication, and I think we've got to straighten out.
Each part was saying who would set the pole. The electricians were saying that the electrical company, and the electrical company was saying that the electricians, and so, but it's all,
It's in process. We'll figure it out. So when was the last time you talked to the Marquee company?
Oh, they came by.
probably 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So I asked our maintenance director to call him today. I don't know if he,
Okay, I started to say, if you want, give him my number.
yeah. I'll check in with him tomorrow, because I asked him to call, because since we're now finally moving on the electric, we need to make sure that they're ready to install it,
Yeah.
actually.
Are they coming out just to bid it tomorrow, or are they coming out to?
The electric company's coming out to do a survey to figure out exactly where they want to put the pole tomorrow. So they're not actually putting the pole tomorrow, but not the electricians are coming out tomorrow to look at it and see exactly. We have to have the pole. So Excel has told us this is the pole we're going to run your power from. They told us that today. And then our pole has to be within 80 feet of that. So then the electricians are going to come out and see where's the best spot for it compared to where the sign is going to be. So they'll do that
And y'all know
tomorrow.
where the sign is going to be? Who picked that?
The sign company. Because they said they had to do a application, because any signs on the highway you have to submit an application. And there was rules about how close it could be, and then they said that they had their experience was, like, they actually put it a little further off than I would have done, because they said just from their experience, it's a better idea to do where they put it, so.
Okay. Just curious, making sure we're not making mistakes again.
Well, yes, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Okay, just curious.
Okay, and then, so I've got one more thing on the bond, sort of. The architect, and so we haven't received any invoices from the architect, so I called the architect yesterday and said, hey, the construction people, Page and Associates, have sent us all kinds of invoices. You guys haven't sent us a thing. What's going on? And so apparently the deal that was worked out with them, which I was not aware of, was that they were just going to roll it into their fees for the bond. But since the bond didn't pass, then they did go ahead and send us a bill. Now, what we've done in the past, like in the 2014, it was a 7% fee, and that's standard, is a 7% fee. Well, on this one, he knocked it down to a 4% fee, so it's $27,000, because it's 4% of the entire cost of the construction. So he actually did us a pretty good break on the fees on that, but it's still $27,000 that we hadn't accounted for. So we'll see if we can squeeze it into the maintenance budget. If not, towards the end of the year, I'll probably have to come
So
to you.
27,000 for.
The architectural services, like the drawings that were hanging on the board, and then they,
What drawings that were hanging on the wall?
there were some drawings of the rooms on the board there. I mean, I have the plans, I can bring them to you. if you
No,
want.
just trying to figure out what we're getting charged for.
And then the architects are the ones that they come and check on a regular basis to make sure that they're actually, doing things, the construction people are doing them to the plans. They came and did the final walkthrough and said, okay, this isn't right. They did pick the hideous color on the cabinets. So architects get weird sometimes.
I think we should get money back from that. That's okay.
So, I mean, they basically, architects manage the projects. And as a school, we're required to have architects. I mean, so it's not.
So it's just for the one wing, is basically.
Oh, yeah, this was all for that.
Okay.
All for that.
So it wasn't for any of the things we were planning.
No, because they never actually did any drawings for
That's
those.
what I was
So if you remember when I asked about the architect, I told you it would cost us $20,000-$30,000, and he never did any drawings, so it didn't cost us any.
Okay, that's what I thought we were being charged for. Okay.
No.
All right.
Is the roof done?
The roof is done. The quality control inspection happened last week. I'm not sure, I haven't gotten a report back yet. So that's the same guy that came up and originally inspected the roof and said, wow, you have all these problems. And then also Duralast came up and they inspect it to make sure that it was installed properly before they'll give the 20-year warranty. So that all happened, I can't remember the exact date, but it happened sometime last week. So then at this point it is done. If there was any issues that were found in the inspection, they'd have to come back. But like I said, I haven't gotten the report yet. So
I like it. I think it looks good.
I actually think it looks a lot better than I anticipated.
Kim,
It doesn't
did you
look
get
like a
your
big
questions
marshmallow, does it?
answered? Kim, did you
I wasn't there, but Mark, I told Mark, and Mark was asking.
Because I know you saw a couple of places you had questions about.
Yeah.
So.
And Mark, they were on the roof looking at everything.
Okay.
Yeah. The also the mason finished all of the brickwork, and he did a ton of extra work because this was his last job. He's retiring, and he was selling all of his equipment while he was doing the job, and he did so many things, and he charged us like $100 extra than what he was planning on. And there's just like there was places where under flashings we had stolen bricks in the past apparently to patch somewhere else, and just didn't put anything in place. And so he
Re-bricked all under the windows in the office. It looks really good. They're not like pieced and falling out with grouts that
Yeah.
are just happening there. It looks really nice.
anywhere where there's a concrete footing next to the building, he filled up the gap between the building and the concrete. I mean, he did an exceptional job. It makes me sad that he's retiring.
We go look for maintenance.
He's gonna go move down to the on the coast, he said, so.
Lake property man.
So, yep, that's everything I had.
That's everything. Okay. Mr. Pearson.
Okay, I've got all our attendance there, the number of kiddos in each grade, and I put in the percentages for October attendance rather than do it as a total. I did it for the month. And then our total refined ADA and our total attendance percentage for the district. And then we do have one active case of COVID at the moment. And so, and then get a calendar of events, and I'll try to do this just so y'all have an idea. You know, I'll update this and try to send it out, you know, at least once a month between the board meetings, so you kind of have an idea of what's going on throughout the district on the different events and things that are going on the different campuses. And so, the parking lot, we kind of discussed that earlier, so I was going to discuss it with y'all in my part, but we've already kind of come to a conclusion on that. I think it's a great idea, and I look forward to seeing what they come up with. And then passing out the turkeys next week before Thanksgiving. I just need to know when y'all want to do that. Kevin does have the turkeys in. We got them all, so we can give them out to all the staff. And I just need to figure out what days and what times so that we can get them up here so we can pass them out.
Okay. So we're in school, I mean, what is the last day before we leave for Thanksgiving?
The 19th.
All right. So usually we do the elementary on the Thursday and the junior high and the high school on the Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we need a list, Ms. Tanya, by campus, and then like even the bus drivers and custodians kind of by campus, or because a lot of the bus drivers will get as they go around that circle at the elementary, just and by campus and then by alphabetize their names. So, and we did get one for everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, guys, Thursday and Friday, and we usually do it when they're picking up. So that's what 3:30ish is when we usually get her.
What's the best time at the elementary?
Buses start pulling out at 3:20. We start lining up at 3:25, so like 3:30, 3:45.
So usually 3 o'clock.
Yeah, we usually get there at
Y'all
3.
show up early. Some of them come out early and some later.
Yeah, so.
You know, bus drivers are there.
Yeah, the bus drivers and then the teachers, sometimes if their kids are in line, they'll take turns to come. So we need to be there at 3 o'clock. So at the elementary on the 18th and junior high on the 19th. Junior high and high school, we just pull right in between there and park, and then we just hand them out. So.
We usually do it at 3:30, right? Do you remember?
The bell rings at 3:40.
3:40.
So.
Oh, over here.
3:15.
Yeah, about 3:15 probably over here. And we have to go pick up the trailer from Kevin. We have to pull the trailer, so somebody has to hook onto the trailer, get it, and bring it.
Yeah, it's all hooked up and ready to go. All you gotta do is unplug it and drive it up there.
So it's just on a volunteer basis for us, so y'all can let me know.
What time is the elementary?
3 o'clock. Just, we park it back there, in the teacher's parking lot back there where the buses are.
Let's go Friday night.
And 3:15, kind of have the traffic, we need the trailer here by 3:15 and 3 on the other. You'll be there both days, I can be there both days, I'm pretty sure, well, no, yeah, maybe, I'm on Friday.
And then my last thing, the end of October, we have Snapshot Day, and this is a realignment year, so this will determine, the number we turned in was 215, and that'll determine what, district and conference we play in. At our number, it won't affect us as far as moving anywhere. We'll still be, 2A will be a big 2A in football, and the cutoff the last time was 229, I believe, and so the projections we saw from the Padilla poll, basically Boys Ranch drops out and Stratford's moving up, so we gain Stratford, but who knows what'll actually happen. We won't know that till February, so, but anyway, we did turn that in, and we did turn in 215, so that's about, I think the last time we did it was about the same number, so.
Does anybody have any questions about that?
AEA looks like it's doing decent overall.
Sorry?
AEA looks like it's doing pretty decent.
Well, considering what we're going through, I think we're hanging in there, and so hopefully it'll hang there and not go down anymore.
Okay. All right. Then let's set a date for December's meeting. When are y'all? Okay. Okay.
So we need to do we have two in December.
Or just do one with a, what is usually December's very long.
Now, our December meeting's not great.
Like that first thing, nobody shows up, so it takes like 2 minutes to do
Yeah.
that. And we really don't usually have anything else other than our reports.
Well, we got maybe the athletes come in, and we'll have a few, like some of the students come in. We can do I'd rather do two small ones.
So we do two small ones.
Yeah. Okay, so let's pick the meeting and then we'll pick the workshop.
And if possible, I've had some requests from community members and things of that nature. You know, Wednesdays, we're kind of competing against, you know, church crowds and the kiddos. You know, if we're going to recognize kiddos, you know, we're kind of taking them away from, depending on how long the meeting lasts, you know, their ability to get to church. And so, you know, now that we're, you know, out of football season and that type of thing, you know, I don't know if Thursdays works for everybody, but, you know, we don't have any games there unless there's a few tournaments here and there.
Yeah, but you're not, there's a good chance if there's a tournament that they could play in the morning and be back that evening, so, you know, we won't get those schedules for them, but that would be the least conflict would be a Thursday.
So if we could do that, that'd be great.
Thursday the 9th or something like that.
Yeah, we usually after football, we switch.
Okay.
On the 9th, we have a 5th grade music program.
On the what?
The 9th.
The 9th, okay.
I'll be good.
Wait a minute, so what about that Monday, the 6th?
6.
Yeah.
Monday the 6th?
I could do something. I leave Tuesday.
The workshop or the meeting?
Okay. You can be here the 6th.
If we had two out there.
Let's do that.
All right, how about December the 6th for the regular meeting? And hopefully it won't be very long.
It's because we do that.
And then, or we can do the workshop, I don't care. It's in the. All right, so that's at 6 o'clock on the 6th, and then for the workshop, what looks good for y'all?
We could do that on the 16th.
On the 16th?
I won't be here.
You won't be here?
I'll be in Denver. I'll come back to Friday.
Too much to have it the week before on the second?
The 2nd?
Or, I mean, can we do it that same, will you be
Okay,
gone
Logan,
that
are you
week?
gonna be here anytime in December? When are you gonna be here?
The 29th.
He'll be here on the 6th. I'll be here on
At
the
least we
6th.
get that.
Yeah, I have to go to Albuquerque on the 1st, come back the 2nd. I could be back that evening. I'll be back that evening on the 2nd.
Y'all wanna do a workshop on the 2nd?
Sure.
Okay, let's try it. What do you say? Y'all wanna do it at 6?
Yes.
Yeah, both of them at 6. Okay, and then, I just wanna thank everybody that came out and supported us with the bond, even though it didn't pass. I mean, it's you know, we all worried about it with the way the world is right now, and, you know, my husband ordered a bunch of those stickers, and if I could just put one of them stickers that says, you know, I did that on
If
the
there's one
bond,
on the
then
gas
that
pump,
would
then
be.
it blows.
Yeah, well, you know, but anyway, but I think that had a lot to do with it, the way everything is so expensive right now. As you see, or as you hear with us talking about the things that we still have to do and what our fund balance is going to be, I mean, we're still going to try and get some of this finished and try and get it, but we can only do so much. And so we will talk and think, especially at the workshop and stuff, about what we want to do and where we want to go with it. But we do appreciate all the support from the community. And does anybody have anything else? All right, and I adjourn at 7:54.
Thanks.
Second from Billy. All in favor?